Hey everybody, welcome back to A Matter of Life and Maiden, the podcast of the Beast. I am Joe Labriola. And on today's episode, this is episode 31 of the podcast. I want to talk about some speculation, and with that, some tour speculation. As we know, next year is 2025, and that marks the 50th year anniversary since the formation of Iron Maiden. Steve Harris formed Iron Maiden on Christmas Day, December 25th, 1975. So 50 years since the formation. It also marks 45 years since the first record, the original LP, the self-titled debut, Iron Maiden, was released. 25 years since the release of Brave New World, when Bruce came back into the band, Adrian came back into the band, and Yannick remained, and they became a six-piece. And it's also the 10-year anniversary of the Book of Souls record next year already. Damn, 10 years ago Book of Souls came out. It does not feel that long. It feels like it came out like 3 or 4 years ago. But honestly, that was Senjutsu 3 or 4 years ago going out. So, it's crazy that those albums have been out so long. It does not feel that long. I guess that means I'm just getting old. But, no, I've said this before. I've been a Maiden fan for 20 years. Matt got me into Iron Maiden. He got into him a little bit before me. He got into him when he and I were just getting ready to graduate from high school in 2004. That was our senior year of high school. He had just turned 18 just before we graduated. I was still 17 because my birthday's not until September. But he got into him like right around May or June, maybe July of 2004, right towards the end of the high school year, the last year of high school, and then going into the summer after we graduated, and then about 6 months later or so, he started kind of playing me stuff from them, and then I got into him. I want to say about 9 months to a year after that. So for me, it was more like the late 2004 year, right around Christmas time, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, when I started really getting into him and listening to him, and then really diving into the stuff with him in the spring or summer of 2005. So pretty crazy to think about that. So next year will be Matt and I's 20th year anniversaries as Maiden fans too. That's another anniversary, which is pretty cool when you think about it. So, pretty exciting. But I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before. We talk about the scope of Iron Maiden and how we rank all the albums, and there's like a criteria that we have: the artwork, the listenability, everything that goes into it. Is there an epic on the album? And thinking about this, I didn't give Brave New World, I don't think, in the podcast thus far, really enough credit. If you removed all the criteria that Matt and I have for ranking an album and what we look at it as, and you looked at it clearly from just a standpoint of how much of an impact it had on my life in particular as a Maiden fan, it would definitely be in the top 5 up there with, the likes of Power Slave and A Matter of Life and Death, if not number 3, really and truly, because, putting it into the scope of all that stuff we asked for criteria-wise, like I said, you're going to get a different result. It doesn't have an epic song on it. The artwork for the record, is good, but it's not as immaculate or as amazing as some of the other stuff, like the premier stuff with Derek Riggs and the Bruce era of the band in the 80s. And then, the newer stuff in the reunion, like A Matter of Life and Death's art, the Final Frontier art, Book of Souls art, Senjutsu art, etc., etc. Doesn't really reach that level. But if you're looking at it from a pure listenability standpoint, and even from, like I said, how it impacted me personally, it might be number 3. The Rock in Rio concert, which is based on the Brave New World record, was the first rock concert on DVD that I actually sat down and watched from beginning to end in its entirety, ever, period. And that was based on, like I said, Brave New World. And I can't sit here and emphasize enough the importance of that record, because the 90s, it was just a drought for metal music. They were on the back burner. They were taking a back seat to, the the pop punk and the alternative and the grunge music of the time. Metal and rock and stuff like that was just on the back burner. But when you watch that, you can see, like, the Rock in Rio DVD, like, the importance of it. And Matt kind of hit the nail on the head when we talked about the Rock in Rio podcast, like the part 2 of the Brave New World episode. It was just amazing because he took the wind basically out of everything that I was going to say, because he was so passionate about it. Like, all I could do was just agree with him and say, yep, because he pretty much hit the nail on the head with that. Like, he knew his research, and he gave his passion full swing and full force on that episode. And I pretty much had to just echo everything he said, because he was right. I mean, it was that record for both of us, Rock in Rio, and that concert, that live concert that they released on DVD, was probably the first concert that he and I both sat down and watched from beginning to end in its entirety, together, as friends and as guitar players and as fans of metal, him first and then me shortly after him. So, I mean, it was just, it's something to really, Brave New World in itself is such a, it's an album that really set the tone. It's an album that really hoists the banner for metal and brought it back into the new millennium. And it's so cool that it got released in the year 2000, because it really does do that. Emotionally, like I said, first concert I ever watched from beginning to end. Some of the first music from that record, I remember driving around when we were in a bowling league. Matt and I, myself, and my brother, and our other couple of our friends, we go pick them up at their houses. They lived about 15 or 20 minutes away from us. I remember listening to The Wicker Man and Ghost of the Navigator and Brave New World and the Blood Brothers distinctly as we were driving around. And I loved it. I loved it. Those songs are some of the most prominent songs, in my memory. Some of the first stuff. I remember going into the mall to look for new CDs or look at guitar stuff, or going out to Music Emporium and look at guitars and picks and straps when we were really getting into playing together, and listening to The Mercenary as he pulled into the parking lot. I'd never heard it before. Matt's like, yeah, this is about the movie Predator with Schwarzenegger. I'm like, is it really? And then you listen to it, you're like, yeah, it is. Right? And just little tidbits like that from my own personal life, and then getting my brother into Maiden and him listening to it. Now, my brother is more of a casual Maiden fan. He's not really a metalhead. He's not really a rock guy. He likes a little bit of everything, He's more of like an alternative guy, but he does like Iron Maiden. And he loves the Brave New World record, and he loves it to this day. He's like, yeah, hands down, Brave New World is amazing. I had a friend in college named Dustin who loved the Brave New World record. I had a couple friends I used to hang out with, years after I graduated college and in grad school who loved Brave New World. It's their favorite album. And, justifiably so. It's the first album as the band as a 6-piece. It's an anthem for metal. And it is it's like a foundational blueprint for what the band is now. It's the foundation of that. And without that album and all that power and that strength from that record, we wouldn't have what we have right now with a 6-piece Iron Maiden band that has churned out 6 albums since the reunion, and all have been pretty damn good, if not epic and amazing. Some not quite as good as others, but for the most part, these records are A+, with a few that are like, maybe a B-, C+. But for the most part, they've been absolutely astounding. And, I can't get this thought out of my head when Matt said, when Adrian comes out on the Rock in Rio concert and that light's just shone on him and he's playing the first couple chords of the Wicker Man, the first couple riffs of the Wicker Man, it's like Iron Maiden's back. Metal's back. Right? And the foundation for the future that's going to take off, and we see where they've come from that, almost 25 years later. So much stuff. Matt got me a copy of Rock in Rio in 2006 for my birthday. A couple months after that, I went out and bought Death on the Road, and it's just a turning point for me for metal. And I think I failed to emphasize, doing this podcast and kind of talking about Brave New World, the record, just how much and how important it is. How important it is to me, how much influence it's had on my life. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Sorry for that long tangent, but it deserves respect. And the reason I'm kind of thinking about it now, not because I've been listening to it recently either, but I have, But also because it's going to be the 25th anniversary next year. And it's going to be, like I said, all those things coming up. Speculation for a tour. I feel like Iron Maiden may do something with the Brave New World record because of all the stuff I mentioned. They know it was their first record as a six-piece band. They know it was their first record recorded with a new producer after Martin Birch retired and they got Kevin Shirley. They know how important the record was for cementing their modern-day foundation. And, you had three guitarists in the band and just better songwriting and just better production and all this kind of stuff from the 90s stuff with Blaze. Nothing against Blaze or anything. Nothing against Steve as a producer, but that production quality wasn't that great. They needed a... Bruce even said it himself. We need to hire a full-time producer who's going to do this for us, and they got Kevin. So, they know this stuff. And it's been a very, very long time since they've really done anything that has kind of focused or honed in on, so to speak, Brave New World. They played a couple songs on Legacy of the Beast. They were doing stuff for the Wicker Man, for the Senjutsu modified Legacy of the Beast tour, and they added the Senjutsu songs in. They played Blood Brothers from that record. But we haven't heard Ghost of the Navigator for a long time. We haven't heard Brave New World for a long time. We haven't heard a lot of those latter songs either. Dream of Mirrors, haven't heard that for quite some time. So it would be nice to see a lot of that stuff reappear. And I think they may do that. How they're going to do it, I don't know. My speculations are this. They do a history tour / new album tour like they're doing now with the Future Past, where they'll do the history side of it, like the back catalog of it, will be Brave New World songs. And then if they release a new album in 2025, which they just may, they'll play 5 songs from that. So it might be something like that, where they do 5 songs from Brave New World, 5 songs from a new album, and they'll have 5 or 6 other songs from the rest of the Maiden catalog sprinkled in. Probably stuff from the 80s, the popular stuff, probably Number of the Beast stuff, Power Slave stuff, Peace of Mind stuff, Somewhere in Time, Seventh Son, maybe that stuff sprinkled in. Or, alternatively, they would do something like they did on the North American tour leg of the Final Frontier tour that they did a month before Final Frontier, the album was actually released. They did a 4-3-2-1. They did 4 songs from Brave New World, 3 songs from Dance of Death, 2 songs from Matter, Life, and Death, and they played 1 song from the Final Frontier because the album wasn't released yet, and they just wanted to show basically the single of the song. So it was kind of like a greatest hits tour for the newer stuff since the reunion up to that point. But that was in 2010. I saw that live. I saw that tour live, twice. Matt and I both saw that. And it was a really cool surprise because we had never seen those songs and never thought we were going to, and we did. We got to see Brave New World stuff, Dance with Death stuff, Matter, Life, and Death stuff, and, the other singles. So it was really cool. So what they may do is do a tour that focuses on those kinds of things. And, I forgot to mention, I was thinking about that. 15 years next year will also be the 15-year anniversary of the Final Frontier record. And they haven't really done much with that since the tour, the Final Frontier. So we could see a mixture of some pretty cool things. We might get like a Brave New World focused, Final Frontier focused, new album focused tour. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. I think it would be cool. I think it would be neat, but they kind of did do album tours that were based on strictly the newer stuff. So like they did Rock in Rio for Brave New World. They did Death on the Road for Dance of Death. They played A Matter, Life, and Death in its entirety on that tour, and then they had the Matter of the Beast tour, which was a hybrid tour with Number of the Beast songs and A Matter, Life, and Death songs. They did the En Vivo big concert thing in Chile for the Final Frontier record. Book of Souls, they did the live chapter. Then Senjutsu, because of COVID and everything, and them having to push the album back, they're doing this thing now where they added some stuff to the Legacy of the Beast tour in 2022, and now they're doing this hybrid tour with older stuff from Somewhere in Time and newer stuff from Senjutsu. So they're playing 5 songs from Senjutsu, they're playing 5 songs from Somewhere in Time. So How they do this, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. Some other things that may be in the pipeline that they might, throw us for a loop and kind of surprise us. It's also going to be next year. Not next year. It's actually this year. This year is the 40th anniversary of Power Slave. They did do somewhere back in time, where they did, basically a modern day Live After Death. They played Rhyme. They played the Big Four. They played Rhyme. They played Ace Society. They played 2 Minutes, and they played Power Slave itself. So if they do that, they very well could. That could be a big monumentous thing for tour fans too, who have never got a chance to see that. And that probably is, the height of them as a band. So it's definitely a possibility. Do I think it can happen? Yes, I do. Will it happen? I don't know. But that's kind of where I'm at with things. I just wanted to kind of jump on here real quick today and just talk about tour speculation and see where everybody's at. I feel like if I had to take my best guess, I feel like if they're going to be continuing with what they're doing with Future Past and they saw how successful it is and how it worked, I feel like they're probably going to do something like that. And I feel like they're going to focus on Brave New World the most. I know Final Frontier is 15 years old as well. I know Book of Souls is 10 years old. I know next year it's going to be 45 years since the original Iron Maiden record and the 50th year anniversary for the band itself. But I think what they'll do is, I think they're going to give us a new album, because Senjutsu was recorded in 2019, and it was supposed to be released in 2020, but COVID happened, so they waited a year, and then they kind of gave it to us. So if you look at the gap between albums, it was 5 years between The Final Frontier and Book of Souls, and it should have been 5 years between Book of Souls and Senjutsu, but COVID happened, so that should have came out in 2020, which means we should get an album in 2025, is what I'm thinking. And it would fall into place perfectly, because it's, like I said, 50th year anniversary. They're going to give us something. They're going to give us a new record. I can just smell it. It has to be coming. They'll give it to us. And I do feel like they're going to focus on Brave New World for all those things I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. Just because of the importance of the record and what it means to them as a band. And the fact that they are getting older and they've been talking about this and they know they can't do this forever. Nico just had a stroke last year. Bruce had cancer. It's been 9 years ago now, but, they're not getting any younger. And I'm glad they're still full of life and energy. But I'm sure they're going to give us one more record. They're probably going to tour with it and do a hybrid tour like they did with Future Past. And then I think, honestly, after that, it's going to be farewell stuff. Nico was born in 1952. The guy's in his 70s now. I'm sure he probably doesn't want to be doing this till he's 80. So I feel like he's probably, the rest of the band and stuff, they're probably going to be hanging it up. They all have side projects now. Nico has I forget what it's called, the Tasteful Tart or something like that. It's like a Maiden cover band he's doing on the side. He plays gigs and stuff in Florida, where he's from, where he lives. He's from England, but, he lives in Florida. He's lived there for a very, very long time, decades now. Adrian's doing the side stuff with Richie Kotzen, so he has a side project going on. Bruce has his solo stuff going on. Dave and Yan don't have any side projects going on as of yet. Steve has British Lion. So, most of the guys in the band have other stuff to do. And who says that they won't, record albums down the line either. But I doubt they're going to tour, for much longer. I'm saying we've got a good 5 or 6 years left in the boys, and then they're probably going to hang it up. And that's probably going to be, like I said, a hybrid tour of Brave New World focused on with a new album mixed together. Then they'll probably do some farewell tours for 2 or 3 years, and that'll be it. Then Iron Maiden's going to be done. 18 albums in, I feel like, and that's going to be kind of like the cherry on top, the icing on the cake. And I feel like we're going to get that in 2025. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts and speculations are about what's happening coming up. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be anything to do with Power Slave. I don't think it'll be anything to do with the first record, the self-titled debut. It could be. It could be a mixture of the self-titled debut and a mixture of Brave New World and the new record. Who knows? I don't know. And then some songs sprinkled in. But we'll see. Let me know what you think. I am going to see Eddie and the Boys on November 8th of this year. It's just a couple months away. Right now, it's, let's see here, 3 months. 3 months until I'm going to see Eddie and the Boys at PPG Paints Arena on the Future Past Tour. I hope the set's the same. They're kicking it off here pretty soon next month, September. So I'm curious to see what the set looks like. I hope it's the same as it was last year, because that was perfect in my opinion. It's all songs I want to see. But yeah, I'm very, very excited. If you get a chance, I say this all the time, to go out and see Eddie and the boys on this tour, please go see them and support them, because truly, this will be my 10th time seeing Iron Maiden. I've seen them on, this will be my 6th different tour that I've seen them on, with 7 different sets, and every time it's been awesome. My first concert experience ever was Somewhere Back in Time. It was Power Slave themed, Focus. And then after that, I saw them on the Final Frontier North American tour, which I said was basically like a greatest hits of a newer stuff, Brave New World, Dance of Death, Matter of Life and Death, and the Final Frontier up to that point. So that was almost a history tour in itself. After that, I saw them on Made in England, which was a Seven Son heavy tour, where they played 60 or 70% of the Seven Son album, which was amazing. Amazing set lists, amazing special effects, amazing theatrical presentation. It was phenomenal. After that, Book of Souls tour. That was the first actual album tour I saw them on, and we all know what that looked like because of the live chapter. They gave it to us for free on YouTube to watch it, and the live chapter set list is the exact same set I saw. Just absolutely amazing. Phenomenal tour. Then Legacy of the Beast, I saw them in 2019, which was more of the greatest hits thing. It was like a very peace of mind heavy set with some stuff mixed in like they did with Rock in Rio. They threw in Sign of the Cross. They had the Klansman in there. They had The Evil That Men Do. It's kind of like a mixture of Rock in Rio and the World Peace Tour kind of mixed together. And now I'm going to see them on the Future Past tour, which is going to be a Somewhere in Time themed set from the past, and then Senjutsu, new stuff. I also saw them on the Legacy of the Beast tour in 2022, where they sprinkled some Senjutsu songs in and changed the setup a little bit, but it was very similar to the 2019 set with some, subtle tweaks here or there. They still played Sign of the Cross, they still played Klansman, they played all that really cool stuff, and they had 2 encores. They closed with a Spitfire, Aces High, for the second encore, which is awesome. But yeah, I'm just thankful to be alive and be a Maiden fan. Number of the Beast, maybe they'll throw for a loop and do something with that and focus heavily on that. I don't think they will, because 99.9% of the time they sprinkle in 3 or 4 songs from Number of the Beast in every single tour they do. But I will say this, on the Future Past tour, they've only played 1 song from Number of the Beast, and that's The Prisoner. They haven't played any other songs on that tour. So maybe that's why they're not playing any songs from it. Maybe they will sprinkle it in, because it'll be the, let me see here, next year will be the 43rd anniversary for Number of the Beast. Kind of a weird number, 43. But maybe they're thinking of, maybe making it like a 45 anniversary, kind of like what they did with Somewhere Back in Time. Because technically in 2008, when they started touring with that, Power Slave wasn't 25 years old yet. It was 24 years old. But they went into 2009 with that tour, too, to make it 25-year anniversary for Power Slave, too. So maybe they're thinking about doing that, 45 anniversary. Who knows? And we'll see. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and stuff below. As always, listen to your Iron Maiden records. Long live Eddie and the boys. Up the irons. Go out and see Iron Maiden on this tour. This has been Joe Labriola for A Matter of Life and Maiden, the podcast of the Beast. Everybody take care of yourselves. See you next time.